It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the classicmetalshow.com, and we're actually going to leave the metal behind for a minute. We're going to go into some good old-fashioned hard rock with some brand new stuff from the album Blood. That was a song called Right as Rain. The band, of course, Collective Soul. And on the line right now, we have the drummer from Collective Soul, Mr. Johnny Rabb. Johnny, how are you, man?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I am excellent, man. It's a good day, as I was telling you right before we started, when there's new music and new touring from Collective Soul, man. It's an exciting time to be a fan of the band.
Yeah, we're excited too. We got our new album Blood that's out, and we're really excited to be hitting the road. We're going to have our buddies Ginblossoms joining us in the next couple of weeks here. So we're going to be touring all through this year. It's the 25th anniversary of the band, sure. And it couldn't be a better time for the band. The album we're really proud of it, and we look forward to seeing all the fans out there.
No doubt, man. And before we talk about the album, let's talk about this tour a little bit. Obviously, 25 years of any band making it, not necessarily Collective Soul, but any band is a major achievement, but especially these last 25 years. It just seems like music has completely rolled itself over into something completely different, far more than, I don't know, than say like between the Beatles and hair metal, I guess. It just seems like from the 90s to now is an unbelievably fluid time, but Collective Soul has been able to not only maintain but continue to stay true to what they were, what you guys have been since the start.
Yeah, I'd say that you're right when you use the word stay true. That's what the band has done. I mean, I joined the band in 2012 and remember when they first came out and saw the video around 95, 96. I don't want to get my years wrong, but right. I saw Shine video and heard the song and remember December and things like that. Those are key songs for me. And Ed and the guys have stayed true to what they started as, which is a rock band. And it's Ed Roland's vocal sound that is so, unique and distinct to the band and the way the band plays together. So I'm with you. It's a different time for music, but we're embracing it. And I think that's a key element in staying relevant. And also Ed continues to write every day.
Sure.
And when we play as a band, we're still playing as a band. We're not doing a whole bunch of tracks and things. We have none. We're a rock band playing live. It's exciting playing those shows because it's really us. If one of us stop playing, then you're going to hear that hole there.
Right.
So it's a team playing, and I mean the same thing goes for the record. But yeah, times are different. But I think the decision to obviously keep up with the times, whether it's social media or streaming, or as Ed says sometimes in concerts, get our record. Well, I don't know if it's called a record. Get our album. Well, I don't know if it's called that, but get it however you can get it, because we're going to be back here playing live as soon as we can. So we realize how important the live show is to keep this train moving, and we love doing it. So it doesn't feel like a job to us. We work hard,
sure,
but we're still very passionate about it, and it's just great. I'm very fortunate to be involved with these guys. It's like a family to me, and I do kind of do that, like, pinch myself, like, oh man, wow, you are getting to work with these guys, and they're all good friends at this point, and each show is we really care about, and we're just looking. That's what we're looking forward to do, is hitting the road and getting back to the fans.
Sure. Does it seem to you, because it doesn't to me, like it has been a quarter century since Collective Soul debuted? I mean, like you, I remember Shine. I still think of it as a new song or a newer song.
To answer your question, no, I don't think it seemed like the 25 years, the quarter century, because me too. I'm kind of doing that like where'd time go thing personally. I got to be honest with you. It's like a little like,
sure,
what happened, because I'm back here as a guy that grew up, early 80s and 90s stuff as influences, and even some late 70s, of course. But no, I can't believe it's gone by that fast. But I think the telltale sign of Collective Soul is the sound. And if you play a song from them on any album, and now I'm saying this as just a listener at this point, it's all right now. It stands the test of time. So that part to me is massive. It stands up right now, and I just love that. So you just said Shine sounds new. Yeah. And that was kind of that feeling I had when I first heard that in December. It's like, what is this? Like the the way the song sounds, that, you know, yes, of course, the hooks and the catchiness, but the way the drums are recorded, the way the guitars are so well produced and written, it just really is this, you know, infinitely acceptable song. Like, you could put it up right now. And to me, that's what Collective Soul is. And they're their own unique sound as well, which as I said, I'm saying that now about the incarnation of the original, and happy to say that we are still chipping away with this new album, you know, and I feel like very proud to be a part of that and have that, you know, I guess, like, cataloged, if you will. So I think that's it, though, is trying to just keep on it, and here we are.
No doubt. Well, Johnny, let's talk about the new album, Blood. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've had it for exactly 24 hours, so I haven't really dug into it as much as I probably could have. But the one thing, you know, much like you're saying, the one thing that stands out listening to it, every song on it could fit any era of the band or any record of the band. At the same time, there are some nuances and some steps that are new, you know, and I'll point to one specific song, Observation of Thoughts, which really, really feels like it might be the most emotional or meaningful song that has ever been on a Collective Soul record. Is that true? And B, do you feel like this is a growth instead of a continuation for the band?
Well, you know what? That's a very good, that last part, the whole question's great, but that last part about is this growth instead of continuation? The answer is yes, because I can guarantee you, even though the guys aren't on the phone, that they would say that we are growing every record that we get to do, or if Ed's songwriting, he's definitely not milling these out, if that word can be, or just like, oh, but, you know, I'm going to go in a room and write because I have to write. Mm-hmm. His attitude is he's coming from the heart with all the stuff that he writes and the material. And I've seen it, because I've seen personal things for all of us happen, and I don't live Ed's life, but I've heard it, and I'm like, you know, we're brothers on the road, so I know that a lot of these ideas for songs are coming from obviously real life situations. So that's a really big deal to be able to write about an experience or something that happened in life, even if it's tough, even if it's happy, if it's sad, hard times, good times. This whole album kind of encompasses that, and like what happens in life. And so the word growth is huge that you said. So I would say that that song, Observation of Thought, one of my favorites. We will be playing that on this upcoming tour as well. As I said, I go back to some personal things. We had some very tough times with the Collective Soul band, not with the band, so to speak, personally, but family-wise, and some personal things happened that were tough to get through. And that song means a lot to all of us in different ways. So that's an emotional one for me personally. And that's kind of cool, because that's what music should do. It remind you of something or give you a feeling. And that song gives me that feeling every time we play it, about something that happened last year with me. And I'm sure it gives the guys their own things too, with their personal lives and things. So we are humans.
Sure. And
things happen. Sometimes they're amazing things. Sometimes they're very sad and tough things. So this record means a ton to me in that aspect. I mean, being able to be a part of it. So I'll quit being so long-winded, but it is growth. It is definitely growth, and not just, we should just keep going. It's a yearning to keep going too. It is a growth.
Sure. Now I have to imagine, you know, on more the sound side than the creative side, you specifically have to be very happy with this record, because your drums are absolutely booming throughout every one of the rocker type songs. Your drums are way out in front, which is great.
Turn the drums up. No, I'm kidding. I am extremely proud and extremely happy with where everyone is at. We have such a blast every time that we're around each other, and it's hilarious. At the same time, it's serious, but I mean, we have a great time. And you know, Ed gave me some freedom. He has, you know, even on See What You Started by Continuing, but I love it because everyone gets involved on parts. I might come up with something. Ed might come up with the drum part. I mean, these are all some wizards in this band here. So our key is working together. I know it's going to sound cliche, but whenever I think Collective Soul, it's like collective. Like we are a group of, we're all putting into this. And the drums, I'm extremely happy with that. They're, you know, thought out. drum parts, not just beats or patterns.
Right.
And we did a lot of experimenting, and we all got together in the studio in New Jersey and just worked on this stuff each song by song and did it organically. So I'm glad the drums are documented on there. I'm very proud of how I hope that they complement the song. You know, I never try to overplay. I try to play for the music.
Sure.
And again, as a drummer, I also play other instruments. So I'm just blown away by, quite honestly, how everyone just did their parts and how everything came together on this record. The soundscape, I got to be honest, the way that if you listen to it from top to bottom, it is a true album, not just like, oh, I like that one song, I don't like this song. I feel like everyone will get something out of this entire album.
Right. And that is almost the hallmark of the band in general. While yes, Collective Soul has had however many singles, a ton of them at this point. There's never been an album that's come out that has, at least in my opinion, that has felt like, well, there's the two good songs and then there's all the other stuff. It really is the kind of record that you always go into a Collective Soul record, if you're a fan, listening from top to bottom. It's just not, there's been big hits, but most of the time, anybody that knows the band does not start with, well, let me just play the hits and see if I like anything else. You usually get an album and you start at song one and you listen to the end of all of the records.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. And that's our meant to be goal is that it's Ed's bringing these songs. And again, me being really happy to be involved and for these years, it's been awesome. And to watch him songwrite is truly something unique and amazing. Cause I've been around a lot of musicians, but he has an amazing quality of being able to just pick up his acoustic, sing. And you're like, that's a finished song. He's like, oh, it's just an idea. I'm kind of just checking out. And I'm like, it really sounds like his beginning version is almost something that he could go on stage and perform. And I've been blown away by that with him. And also his vocal quality and unique sound. I mean, we all know Ed's voice. It's just, to me, it's magic. And, he's bringing it every night. He's bringing it on the records, his writing, his production skills. And then add the other members too. Dean on rhythm. He's got it. We all have our own unique thing that we bring, soundscapes, musicianship. Will and I lock in tremendously well. I love working with him, and Jesse on lead. Everyone's bringing their sound to this record, and Ed, kind of corralled everyone together. And we, this is the production. The album Blood we're extremely proud of how it came out.
Sure. Now, Johnny, let me just ask you. This is a total fan question, I guess, but you will probably have some perspective of it, maybe not. But you obviously know the business, and you obviously know the guys in Collective Soul, and you obviously know the contemporaries of Collective Soul, the bands that came out at the same time, and had varying levels of success. What do you think it is about Collective Soul that has allowed the band to stay, at the top tier without the backlash that so many of your contemporaries, and I'll point to Nickelback not as a slam, but just, and I know it, they get beaten to death by, online, and their music is solid, just like you guys' music is solid, but you guys have never seemed to taken that kind of a beating. And I'm curious if you have any insight at all as why you think your band has not been beaten up like that.
I mean, good job to the fans. Thanks for not beating us up. No, I'm kidding. And it is actually like we do have a very, very loyal fan base. And I want to be very clear that obviously me in the band for coming up on 8 years now, I don't take credit for as we talked about, the beginning days and the other drummers that I love dearly that played with the band too. But I can't really speak for why fans do that. Like, why bash on Nickelback? I know Daniel Adair well, and I was happy, obviously, when he started playing with them. And I mean, look at him; he is obviously in that band. But I think we don't get there with great fans. Give it up for our fans. I never understood why people do that. Maybe they're expecting something, and it might not be what they wanted. And it is pretty simple for any of us. If somebody drops a pass in football or fumbles it or whatever, we're like, come on, you should hang on to the ball.
Right.
So it's kind of easy to armchair quarterback it, right? So, bands ebb and flow and change. And I think that the longevity of Collective Soul is definitely due in part of communication and keeping grounded. And I know that sounds silly, but I'm quite serious. Like, I've more than once see all of us really remain grounded, and we're human beings. So we do care how we treat people and how others are treated. So we're always working on just being good humans and staying true to what we do best. I've devoted my life to drums, and of course I love my family and all that, but it's family first with the band, and that's a huge one for Ed. And that's real. And I've seen it really happen, even with me included in some tough times. So the family first aspect is what we drive. And, the music we're so fortunate to be able to make it. So I can't answer why people bash on bands, but I can say that when we show up to a gig, we do see some familiar faces, and we also get to see some brand new fans too. So as we use that word grow, we're continuing to grow, and we definitely value our fans. We love playing live. We love getting out and playing live and sharing with these people that we care that they want to join us and have their time spent with us.
Sure. And that's always been the number one hallmark of Collective Soul during your time, before your time, has always been the live show. If you ask anybody, even people that don't necessarily like 90s style rock in general, if they've seen Collective Soul, they'll say, yeah, good live band, great live band. That has always been the hallmark of the band.
That is thank you for saying that. It's a great reminder to us. We want people, we don't want to be a band, and they never have been, as you said before myself. It's been a solid live band. So it's my job too, to keep my end of it as high energy and as high, level, so we can rock. I mean, there's not one night that Will and I don't speak to each other after the show, high five and chat and be like, dude, yes, let's even make it, tomorrow. I even said, like, it's going to get even better. Tomorrow's even better. So we don't never hit the stage going, oh God, we're going to play tonight, ever.
Right.
It's the opposite. We're jumping up and down. We're excited. We're used to, as I said, seeing the fans. So we're coming in every time. It's cliche, but like it's the last show. Like, you never know. So we don't take it for granted. We're trying to bring it every night.
Definitely. Now, obviously, you're going to be bringing it through a lot of the rest of the year with the Now's the Time tour with the Ginblossoms. Obviously, fans are very excited about that tour. For you, touring in 2019, how important is it to have a package like this versus just going out by yourself? Is it more important as a band to have, a quality, and quality is the wrong word for it, I guess, but a like-minded, or what's the word? A band that the same fans will like, that had a level of success that's on par with your band, so that the fans get a full night of entertainment? Is that more important now than it used to be?
I don't know, and I'm not skirting the question, but I don't know about the importance of neither here nor there of like, oh, we have to have a package tour. What we like doing, obviously, is playing with people we love. Ginblossoms are great dudes. I always like, obviously circulate, or whatever you call it, to the fact that, I know the drummers usually, we hang, everyone's nice. They have tons of hits.
Sure.
Collective Soul has lots of hits, as we know, too. And so the combination of both equals, like you said, a great night of music. Now, we still will do our own shows. Sometimes we play up to 2 hours, if we're doing our own show in clubs or whatever. So it's not really about necessarily like, oh, we have to have a package. It's just a correct and right fit. And we've had some great fits with Sammy Hagar and the Circle, got to do that, right? We just got done with the Three Doors Down. Okay. So if you think about it, we might reach some of their fans that might have known about Collective Soul, but might not have been like, man, I love them. Maybe now they come out going, I love them. And vice versa. Three Doors on that tour might grab some new Collective Soul fans. And now with Ginblossoms, we just love those guys. Same thing. We'll reach their audience, and they'll reach our audience, and they'll know both bands. So it really is, I guess, like an action-packed night of hits. And that's what's crazy. They have a lot of hits, Ginblossoms do, and they're great live. So what's cool about it is it's a memorable whole night of good music, because you got those bands, and we're just happy to get out there. So we I don't know though, to answer your question about like, it's so important that we have to do this. We just love it. And we really think about it as more like a great fit, and they're good friends of ours.
Fair enough. Well, Johnny, let me ask you one or two that really doesn't have anything at all to do with Collective Soul, but it has to do with your career. And the one I need to ask is, you are working with one of my all-time favorite creative people ever with your USSA record with Paul Barker. I just find Paul to be a creative genius.
He is. That's awesome.
I cannot imagine the challenges that go into working with a guy that creates music so far outside of the proverbial box. Is that difficult? Because he definitely is not afraid to stretch the boundaries that most people would put on any kind of music.
Paul is one of my favorite humans in the world. And I came into that project. It is an older project, and we did that years ago, and I really wish it would have taken off more. But to be honest, it was a tough thing with promotion. You know how it goes as the industry.
Yeah.
So him and Dwayne Dennison, two great guys. Here's what's magic about it. When I came to work with him, I didn't really totally know all of his background, right? So then when I learned his background, instead of it being this intimidating thing, Paul is one of the nicest people around, in my opinion. And we hit it off immediately. I still see him from time to time on the road. I just saw him with Pussifer. Mm-hmm. He was ridiculous. And it's funny because I'm like, there's Paul, like my friend Paul. I don't think of him as like, there's Paul, like the legend
right.
producer and musician. You know what I mean? So I'm only laughing because we laugh. Literally, if he came into the room right now, it wouldn't even be a hey, John. It would be like he'd go, "Give me a break," and then start laughing. I mean, literally, he does those type of terms. But to answer your question about the challenges, when we were doing that record, yes, prides himself on very precise things on drums. So I remember there's one song that was like really quick, 8-note driven type. I don't know, like rock. It was rock for sure, but it's like still had that electronic feel to it. And I got done. I'm like, yeah, cool. There you go. What do you think of that take? He's like, dude, you get it tighter. And I'm telling you, I pride myself on playing tight, parts when needed. I was like, I think that might be tight enough. And sure enough, he pushed it further and it got tighter. So that type of thing, you're correct in that he's always pushing. He's always doing really cool things and interesting sounds. And he's even got his own, company for effects and stuff like that, for pedals. I love that guy, and you just reminded me how much, I'll send him texts from time to time,
sure,
just like a little joke to say hi, and that's really cool. He's great to work with. Period. Great to work with.
Very cool. And one last one about you. I did see that you have a signature drumstick for ProMark, and just as a failed drummer, which I am, I can't even imagine what goes into customizing a drumstick. What exactly does that involve? Is that just about the weight of the stick, or how it hits, or what goes into that?
Well, it's a interesting thing, and this is okay that you asked that question. I don't have that stick anymore, but it's all it's all great because I'm still very close with ProMark. I had a drumstick manufacturing company years ago, and it exists again today. And I was able to get my name back, which was my own name, Johnny Rabb.
Okay.
So Johnny Rabb drumsticks from my ex-partner, if you will. So the quick story is, ProMark, I stopped working with them only because I wanted to pursue my stick company again. But that stick with them was awesome. And yes, it does have to do with weight and what balance I might like. So you kind of like, and that has to do with diameter, length, and then the taper of the stick. It's really nerdy. It's like some people like their custom golf clubs, right? It's like being fitted for golf clubs, as I can imagine. So now I'm doing the Johnny Rabb drumstick company again, and it's going really well. And I'm happy to say that I own it with just one partner that's a good business partner and friend of mine. And so we're moving forward, and it takes a lot. Drumsticks are a unique thing. It's just, if you're, why are there so many guitar picks? Same thing. It's the feel, the weight, the way it's shaped. Same thing goes with drumsticks as well. And we continue to do Johnny Rabb drumsticks. And in fact, I'm proud to say I brought, I think, like 80 pair on the road last year, and I only used 30 or 40, which obviously that means that they're holding up quite well. So I was excited about that. Absolutely. So we're still rocking those sticks as well.
For you as a player, does it make a difference when you just grab a set of drumsticks? Like, I'll point to Morgan Rose's drumsticks, which I know are like tree trunks. They're big and thick, and would that make a difference for you as far as playing? I mean, would you be uncomfortable playing with those, or is it a little more of just the nuances?
No, that's a great question. First of all, Morgan Rose, love Morgan Rose. What a beast and what a great human. Good friend of the band's too.
Sure.
Morgan's a heavy hitter. I love his playing. I wish that I could hit heavier a lot of times. But here's the deal. Sticks. I guess if you could sum it up, if whether you played softball or baseball, the people that are listening, you grab a bat and you're like, holy crap, that thing is heavy. I can't even swing it.
Right.
Okay. Or, man, whoof, you're just like a wiffle ball bat. Okay. So sticks are the same thing. You've got lightweight and thinner diameter. I don't know Morgan's exact model, but I do believe in my mind, I can envision it. If I were to pick up a sticks, no, probably be fine. In fact, always be fine. If I picked up a pair of marching sticks, which are very thick, you'd be fine. But yes, you would notice it. It would be a heavier thing, and you just have to work a little harder. But I wouldn't fail on the gig, but in my mind, I'd be going, man, I can't wait to maybe go down a few diameters on sticks so I can control it or just feel better.
Sure.
And lastly, it's all about sometimes what style of music you're playing too. If you're playing jazz or something, you're not going to use a marching stick on the cymbal. Collective Soul, I'm using the Johnny Rabb 5B because it's a well-rounded stick. And the last thing I'll say is there's also something what I call overplaying a stick. If you find yourself blistering up or you find yourself squeezing the stick trying to get more out of it, or like you're swinging to hit the drum and nothing's happening, probably time to move up a notch to a thicker diameter stick.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy. It's nerdy. Nerdy.
And it's weird because so many kids just grab whatever they have. They're basically one step above a tree stump or whatever. Playing. But it's interesting. As somebody that did play drums for a little while, it's very. I would go and buy whatever was $1.29 at the music store and was like, good, perfect.
Nothing wrong with that. That is a massive deal. Everyone starts. There's nothing wrong with starting with tree trunks. But once you get, it's like any sport. Like you're like, if you stick with whatever, you'll get your own bat someday. It's like that type of weird vibe. Same thing with drums. People start and then you'll see how many sticks are available and you go in and pick out which ones fit you the best. It's all personal preference.
No doubt. Well, Johnny, let's go ahead and wrap this one up with something new from the band, from something off of Blood. Why don't you pick a song and maybe tell us a quick story about it to wrap the interview up with?
Oh man, okay, let's do Crushed. That'd be a great one. I really enjoy that fun drum part. The story is it's an offbeat drum part, and to the listener, it might be kind of hard to tell where the downbeat is, but check that song out. It's driving, it's rocking, and it's got a fun message to it and just driving feel to the song. I love it. Funky, but yet rock. So it's one of my favorites to play live.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. It is Crushed. It's Collective Soul right here on your Classic Metal Show.